What is going on, Notre Dame fans? Mike Singer and Tim Hyde here live on YouTube with this week's Notre Dame. No, not a Notre Dame football show, man. Post-game show after the blue gold game. Notre Dame, played the 2023 spring game on Saturday. Gold team 24, blue team 0. Yeah. No matter what was going to happen today, Tim, we were both going to get on here and say, look, it was just a spring game. Don't overreact. But what are some things right off the top of your head that you learned today?
Yeah, no, I mean, exactly. I mean, you always get into overreaction on a spring game where in reality, I mean, that's why Marcus Freeman has a running clock. He wants to get the hell out of there. Excuse my French. So he wants to get out, stay healthy. Boom. Let's go meet the recruits and let's get ready for fall camp. That's what every spring game is. Heck, watch the Buckeyes last week. They did two-hand touch. If anyone noticed, they didn't even, it looked like the Pro Bowl. So no one was even allowed to hit anybody. But yeah, you go into a spring game for me. I got the roster here. It's all the young guys. I was way impressed with so many of the redshirt freshmen, the true freshmen. That's what it's about. It's not about watching Joe Alt. JD Bertrand's on the sideline. Kaiser's out. So many experienced guys are out. It's about those young guys. And any other little things that you may have seen, guys improving. Jaden Thomas looks to just keep getting better. Big disappointment, I'll be very honest, Deion Colsey. I was like, he looked like the same player we've seen for 2 years in a way. So, a little bit of that. But some dudes really stepped up. You and I have a chat going during the show, and one of the questions we'll get into is the O-line. There's some O-linemen that absolutely looked amazing. So I found that interesting. And it was a hodgepodge of guys all over the place. But my first reaction is that there's some young dudes in this freshman sophomore class that when they get on the field, they're going to be electric for Notre Dame here in the future. So I'm very, very, very excited to talk about those guys.
You excited to talk about these quarterbacks?
Oh God, yeah. I mean, it's real easy. I mean, Hartman had some. And watching it, they look like two different offenses. Hartman looked really good with the RPOs, had some nice throws deep. Buckner, they didn't do any RPOs. When they finally did one, he hit the nice slant to I think it was Tyree for about 15 yards, hit a nice slant for a first down over the middle. It looked like more drop back early for Buckner. Hartman looked to have like a natural flow of the offense from what it looked like. And he had Thomas, who had a couple big plays, which another huge negative was Clarence Lewis. It looked like the Oklahoma State game again, the way he was covering early. Oh boy, that was a little disappointment. But overall, it was a fun game. Notre Dame fans, it was nice to see everyone out there. Had a little rain, looked like your old South Florida out there, right? You had a rain, sunshine, little combination of that 2011 game. But no, overall, it was fun. Yeah, I mean, we're going to talk about everything, so let's get into it.
All right, Kevin says Hartman didn't look just good. He looked generational. I mean, look, folks, this is why you come to our channel here, because we're going to tell you, exactly how we think, and we're not gonna pull any punches. So this, I mean, look, no matter what was going to happen in this game, there's going to be overreactions. It's the spring game, good old junior Javi game, like that's a real thing. But to say, oh, Buckner's terrible and Hartman is, the second coming of our Lord and Savior, like based on the spring game, like, all right, like let's pump the brakes on that a little bit. And that is coming from the guy who has been, leading the Sam Hartman hype train on our Blue and Gold YouTube channel, while my esteemed colleagues Tim Hyde and Mike Goolsby have not been doing that and are leading the Buckner hype train. So any thoughts on the quarterback takeaways, Tim? Like what do you was there anything that you learned from this spring game, or are you going to downplay it because it was Buckner that didn't look good and Hartman who did?
Well, Buckner didn't look good. I mean, let's be honest with you. I mean, he didn't look good. It was, when you get in the overreaction, it's obviously got two quarterbacks playing with two different lines, two different receivers and stuff like that. But you still want to look at the quarterback himself and see what they do. Hartman threw some nice balls. He did. He had a nice rhythm going. He must have thrown about I would say half of those completions are curls. So when the guy says generational, it's not. Yeah, I don't understand what he's saying. Generational quarterback, like he's the savior coming to save Notre Dame. He threw curls, threw a couple slants. He threw a nice, beautiful deep ball. Thomas just runs right by Clarence Lewis, who happens to probably be the starting nickel. So how's that going to look against Ohio State, folks? That was the first thing I thought about. Was like, oh my God, all I'm thinking about is Ohio State game. But some nice balls, some good zip. Now he didn't throw an interception. Who was that? Barnes or somebody drops one. He had a bad ball in the dirt, but that's going to come over the course of a game. He looked a little ruffled more so in that late in the second quarter and whatnot. But his first quarter, he was out there getting the zip, leading the team down there. It was a good football game, I thought, for Sam Hartman when he was in there in that first half.
Yeah, definitely a bit different than what the media had been talking about in some of those.
Oh, I'm sorry. No, I was going to say, yeah, the guy wrote right down here, nice corner route. Matt Salerno, no one wants him on the football team, and he beat Barnes. By the way, Barnes did not have a good game, number 15. So that was a heck of a route right there, which, because he was peeking in the backfield, the slot corner, which Barnes on that one. So, but no, a very nice game for Sam Hartman and Buckner. It looked like, God, I think I wrote in our notes that one drive, I think it's the interception. He's trying to hit Colsey, and Colsey looks like the same receiver to me.
Oh, man.
And that's, if you look back, Mike, he put his hands up like, my bad, like, go back. And we'll talk about this. I'm not blaming him, but where's the effort? He throws up a 50-50 ball, and you got to have 50% effort from the guy who's trying to catch the ball, and there was none. Great pick by Jaden Mickey. Heck of an interception. So I'm not giving that away, saying, oh, it's Buckner. He did. He lofted it up, I thought. He didn't give enough air, but you got to come back and make a play on that. He threw a couple nice balls that had some zip on it. And then there was a few that looked like some of the same ones. The one that should have been a pick, by the way, Jaden Osbury, if I could give that guy a 30-second high five, because he's always been one of those tweeners. I have no idea where he's going to play. I was texting Mike Goolsby. He looked like a dude today. He looked like a guy that's going to play football at Notre Dame. And that ball, it should have been a pick six. He throws it, beautiful spiral by Buckner, but he throws it so far inside on the out route.
This is one of my issues with Buckner, Tim, has been I just don't see the arm strength. I don't see it. That near pick six by Osbury, he was on the right hash throwing that 5 to 7 yard out route all the way on the other sideline. He's not getting that ball out there, Tim. And then 2 plays later, sorry, Tim, I have you muted, get a little bit of feedback. So when he throws that deep ball to Colsey, sure, could have Colsey, made a miraculous, maybe not miraculous. Could he have fought for it, made a little bit better, batted the ball down, sure. But I mean, that seems like more of a routine ball to put it in a much better position than that down the field. So, yeah, I mean, look, I want to tell folks, like, listen, don't overreact one way or the other based on a spring game. But like I said in our show Wednesday night, you go off what your eyes tell you. And look, there's a lot of other context, like Hartman's line was, he had all the time in the world and things were just really clicking for the gold team. Buckner's team had the ball. It was just the opposite. But that is the lasting thing that Notre Dame fans are going to go into the summer with. Hartman just lighting it up. 13 of 16 for 189 yards and 2 tutties. Buckner, 8 of 18, 44 yards and a pick. I mean, again, I don't know. Just last thoughts on the quarterbacks before we move on to some other topics, Tim, because Hartman he definitely looked like the guy. Yeah, I mean, he looked like the guy because he had Thomas and Greathouse making some heck of a plays. Those two guys are outstanding at wide receiver. So, yeah. No, I mean, when you go back, obviously we're watching this here live and coming right back 2 minutes after it ends. So, we'll go back and rewatch it and whatnot. But like I said, a lot of curls, a lot of quick dumps to those guys, a nice, beautiful slant. Thomas,
I think on a 3rd and 9, he hits Thomas, who beats Clarence Lewis for a first down. Just some nice quick dumps, got first downs, kept the ball moving. I thought it was very, very efficient. Jabril Payne obviously had some really nice runs, for the goal team. Some nice blocks, by the way, by Wagner and Rocco. I look forward to talking about those guys. But Hartman looked outstanding. It's 1 of 15. You go into camp getting ready to go. I said ages ago, this is why they brought him in. He's the older quarterback. You knew Freeman was going to go with him, and you could just tell by even the interview, the confidence that he had on the sideline and whatnot. So it's going to go into I highly anticipate him to start the season against Navy. That's the way it's probably going to roll. They're going to run the ball. Wide receivers, to me, is still a huge question mark. It just is. I think the numbers are going to be there. They have their 4 or 5 main guys, and it's going to be an interesting offense to see how this thing evolves. But Hartman was efficient with what they did. He was very efficient through a couple nice, beautiful passes today.
Is he your spring game MVP?
Yeah, I actually texted you that. I would give him the MVP. I'm sure Blue and Gold is flipping a coin, arm wrestling right now between you, Horka, Engel, Todd, about who's going to be on that cover. I'm sure you'll put Hartman on that cover. So he should be the spring game MVP with the numbers he had and the way they moved the offense. Yes.
He was outstanding, right? Mine is Jaden Greathouse, though.
Ooh.
11 for 151 on 13 targets.
Yeah, he was
13 targets.
Hey, yeah, let's just go right into the wide receivers. Let's go into the freshman wide receivers, because we've actually heard so much about Rico Flores. I thought he didn't suit up. I was looking for him as I'm going back. I'm like, oh, there he is. He's actually on the field. So, yeah, Greathouse looks like a junior. Flores looks like a true freshman. Braylon James looks like a true freshman. Jaden Greathouse looks like a dude.
Yeah.
They had a close-up of him, and he had some arms on him, Mike. He had some shoulders. He looks like an older guy that's ready for college football. Flores, we'll see. But I think Greathouse is I think this wide receiver rotation is coming down to Tobias outside. How do you not start Tyree at the slot just to put Thomas as the boundary guy over Colsey, right? Is Colsey really going to be the starting boundary, the go-to guy? I think it would have to be Thomas, and then Flores looks like probably your 4th best wide receiver coming out of today. And even all the spring reports have been positive of Jaden Greathouse. Greathouse looked like he looked like a dude that's been at Notre Dame for a couple of years today. Confident as could be.
Well, what was the scouting report on him coming in?
He's coming from Westlake. He's a guy that knows how to play football. Let's go. He's a guy that's all he's done is catch footballs. Division I quarterbacks, high-end college style of a high school football program he's coming from. And he looked the part. He was extremely impressive.
Let's talk about probably the most important thing for our Fighting Irish faithful that you want to hear about is our analysis, Tim, of the broadcast booth. Talking about Peacock, just the most important things. Tim, why don't you break down the camera angles? How Mr. Rudolph did in the booth, Kyle Hamilton's interview skills. This is really what the people want.
Hey, by the way, Hamilton, great interview with Joe Alt there at the end. So, hey, like I said 1,000 times, if people are asking about commentary, don't ask me. I'm watching football. I'm rewinding, watching one-on-one matchups. I didn't even know Kyle, Rudolph was doing it until halftime. I was like, oh, that's Rudolph. As I'm fast forwarding. So,
he was awesome.
Was he? I don't know. I'm not listening. I'm watching football. Do not ask me about commentary on that stuff. But by the way, Peacock, for those that always complain, I went on my iPhone and I hit a button that said subscribe, and I was in about 13 seconds. So I don't know why people always say this is so hard.
I didn't have any issues with it. I think whoever, Notre Dame, whoever the Peacock broadcast guys are going to be pretty vanilla.
Yes.
Right. Because it's an NBC Notre Dame thing. It's going to be pretty vanilla. Yes. You're not going to have anyone in the broadcast booth that's going to have hot takes or anything like that. It's usually just going to be pretty vanilla.
Hey, Kyle Hamilton, he's taking classes. He's going to get his degree, and he's on the sideline doing a couple nice interviews. So I thought he was sharp today. So kudos to him for helping out.
Yeah. Talk quickly about some of the other quarterbacks. Steve Angeli, 8 of 12, 72 yards. Man, was he running for his life at times. Kenny Minchie got in, was it late in the third quarter, so 2 of 7 for 7 yards. Anything to take away from those guys? Thought Angeli made some nice passes.
Well, I want to go to your point, which I thought you made a great point. We're talking during the game is Buckner playing in the third quarter. What was that? It was, I thought that was a great point as well as I'm, catching up to the live action. And you're right. Why did he do that? Me personally, I think it was the flow. I don't think a blue team had any flow. Because of some bad football play that was happening, and I think they gave him an extra couple series just to see if they could get some form of a rhythm, something positive for him. I think that was the takeaway for that. And then real quick on Minchie, he's a good looking kid. I mean, he's out there throwing the walk-ons and everything, but man, he's a good look. He really is everything. What I think Gino Goduli, when he did his interview, was just like, during this press conference, like, man, this guy's so calm. I think Hartman even brought it up as well before, like, he's so calm and he just looks like it, but man, he could throw. And Jelly running for his life, but hey, second spring, he's going to be fine. And this goes back real quick to the whole point with the Hartman thing has always just been about what's going to happen with these guys this year. So, how much reps are they going to get? Are they going to be on the scout team? Are they going to be able to get prepared, get ready for 2024? But, those are conversations for later. As we know, the quarterbacks, it's going to be Hartman 1-2 with Buckner, and then Angeli and Minchie will battle it out. But really impressed with Minchie. He's a good-looking football player.
Yeah. Just going to look at some defensive stats real quick, Tim, before we go. And I want to talk about the offensive line. Jalen Sneed led the goal defense. See 7 tackles. Xavier Watts had the pick on the last play of the game. I forget the young man's name, but the new walk-on quarterback came in for that last play, threw a pick. Jaden Osbury, 3 tackles, the TFL and a pass breakup. See some of the sacks here. Jordan Patelho, if I recall correctly, that was on like the first play for the blue team. He could have crawled and got the sack on Buckner, just unblocked. Not sure if that was a Tosh Baker blown assignment.
No, it was an empty. They came out in 5 wides. They came out empty. The whole line blocked to the right. He came so free. And when they only brought 5, the O-line probably should have kicked the other way because he was the overhang and they would have picked it up perfectly. But little communication there.
Yep, Burnham gets a sack. Howard Cross as well. And then Jaden Mickey had that really nice interception on Deion Colsey that Buckner threw. How about Nolan Ziegler? 10 total tackles, looking like putting up numbers like his days at Central Catholic in Grand Rapids, Michigan. Had a sack and a TFL as well. Preston Zinter, one of my sleepers of the 2023 recruiting class, had himself a nice game, 6 tackles. Ben Morrison had the nice TFL. I want to say it was on that trick, end around kind of play. Jason Anye looked like a dude, Tim.
Yes.
Really liked him. Junior Tui Halamak had a nice game. Tyson Ford was flying around everywhere. Just gets credit with 1 sack. But I thought just looking at some of these young guys just physically, Tyson Ford and Jason Anye definitely popped.
Oh, yeah. I mean, let's just stick with the Blues since you have these guys up. Number one, Drake Bowen's the one that really impressed me. Yeah. I thought that's another guy that looks like a guy that could play college football. Obviously he's got all the older guys in front of him this year. So we'll see him next spring. He's probably going to be a 2024 starter. I loved watching him. He was physical, point of attack, inside runs, fitting in there. Great tackle down on special teams on one of the punts. I think the very first punt or second punt of the game early on. Really looked apart. Anye, by the way, just bull rush. I mean, twice, which is a big question mark for me, is Billy Schroff just got bull rushed twice today. Just boom, just walked back right into the quarterback. So that was a little scary thinking about that down the road. When they played some of the big boys. But Anye looked apart. Bowen looks the part. Some of those young Gobira looked a little bit thicker than, obviously than last year. Had a really good get off, high motor, high energy type guy. So he's probably not going to get on that field this year with the experienced guys, but I don't see why he can't be that. I don't see why he can't push Nana to get out there and get some reps this year, And then you mentioned, Tyson Ford. Holy moly.
Yeah.
I mean, he's huge. I wrote on my notes, huge. He looks like he's 299 pounds and has a motor. So sky's the limit for that young man. He was very, very impressive today.
Yeah, folks, please do hit the thumbs up. Let's get to 500 likes on this video, so please do go ahead and hit that little thumbs up. And yeah, if you're new here, subscribe to our YouTube channel. It's definitely going to be a fun off season. We'll always have stuff to talk about, as well as recruiting, which Tim Notre Dame landed first 2025 commitment, defensive lineman Davian Dixon. We had a YouTube video up on him, just a couple minutes looking at some of his footage. And then, sorry, still under the weather. I know Tim is as well. This afternoon, Cole Mullins, before the game, committed to Notre Dame, a pass rusher out of the Atlanta area. And who knows, maybe the Fighting Irish will have some more good news coming in the near future. Spring game weekend is always big for Notre Dame. So make sure you lock into blueandgold.com, and we'll have coverage on our YouTube channel here, of course, as well. So, yeah, Tim, I want to talk about some of the offensive linemen. The Gold team starting offensive line from left to right: Joe Alt, Billy Strouth, Zeke Carell, Rocco Spindler, and Emil Wagner. Man, Wagner, I don't know, he still is pretty lean, but he looked really good. What did you think about that Gold offensive line?
Yeah, Wagner was the one I just kept watching. He's lean, but man, he looks good in a uniform.
Yeah.
He is strong. He's put together. Yeah, I mean, he's about 280-ish right now. He's going to just keep packing on weight, keep getting lower in his stance. I'm watching him. I was like, God, this guy hasn't played this much football since his senior year. He's out there just huffing and puffing, but man, he gave great effort. He is a really good-looking football player. I was Billy Strouth had a couple great one-on-one down blocks today. Like I said, he got bull rushed. Mills just walked him back one time, and Anya did as well, which, just like redshirt freshman. He's never been out there before. We got to keep that in mind. He's gonna make some mistakes. He's gonna get beat up at times this coming season. And then really one of the most impressive guys, if you go back and you look at Jabril Prain's runs, it's Rocco. Rocco sealing inside holes in there on his combo blocks, and he got off onto the middle linebacker on two of Payne's runs. So very impressed with Rocco today. I really liked him. Felt a little bad. Oh, go ahead. Talk about the other side real quick, the blue side.
Yeah. So from left to right, Tosh Baker, Pat Coogan, Ashton Craig playing center, and then Andrew Kristofik and Blake Fisher on the right side. What did you see of those guys?
Yeah, Hartman definitely had the better group, but Coogan looked. I keep hearing this Coogan. Oh, Coogan's fighting. No, there's no way. I'm just gonna be brutally honest. I would take Billy, 10 days in a row over Coogan after watching today's practice. So, wasn't too impressed by him. Craig looked really light. So those that are always complaining about Zeke, be happy Zeke, fifth-year senior, a lot of starts under his belt. Very impressed by him. Poor Kristofik had to play some right tackle today. So a couple of the bad plays in the second half, he played right tackle because they rested Fisher the whole second half. So Kristofik goes from starting right guard to starting right tackle. So he was out there getting work. Pendleton slid in at right guard. So overall, Baker wasn't too bad. I was very impressed with him after what we last we saw him was 2021 Wisconsin, Cincinnati. The mess of that O-line early in that season. So I like Baker. He's one, fingers crossed, he sticks it out. He keeps battling. He's going to be the third tackle this year. If he has to play right or left, he's going in. And then he still has 2 years of starting experience to go in 24 and 25 for the Irish. So I really hope he takes advantage of that. But overall, Alt's a stud, but very, very impressed today by Emil Wagner. Just, man, bright future for him as an athlete.
All right, so you would say pretty comfortably that Hartman got the
Oh,
better offensive line?
oh my gosh, yes, it just looked that way, and the pass. I mean, he had what, Rubio, who's the walk on 45 out there, who's not even on the roster. I'm assuming is a walk on, real tall, lean, look like Jason Anye type looking end. Actually, he is on the roster. He's got to be a walk on 45. So yeah, not a lot of big time edge rushers that those guys had to block. But
I
just I really liked watching Wagner's footwork today.
I didn't follow the blue gold game draft. So I'm thinking to myself, like, is this something where the coaches just picked the offensive line, or was that actually drafted by those two coaches? Because if it was drafted, then like, I mean, good job for whoever the gold coach was. I don't even remember who it was. And then yeah, if it was just picked beforehand by the coaches, did they meaningly like give Hartman the better offensive line for whatever reason? I don't know. But uh, Tim wanted to talk about Jabran Payne. Going into it, that is someone who in Tyler Horka in our show Wednesday. Where were you again, Tim? You had some family function?
Yeah,
Family
yeah,
function. I couldn't remember what you said you
exactly.
had going
Yeah,
on.
I had a Wednesday event. Yes.
Um, Horka said Jabran Payne's one of my five most players with the most to prove for this game because he had a really good opportunity, and I thought he played a pretty good game. 11 rushes for 51 yards, also caught a couple passes on a couple targets for 14 yards. You think Jabran Payne with Chris Tyree out to move into receiver? You think Payne can kind of slide into that number 3 role and
Yes.
have a pretty good season?
Yes, it goes back to Payne, his high school film. When he was his sophomore year. I mean, people, if you haven't, I mean, go back and watch his sophomore film. That sophomore film is where he blew up and got all those national offers. Had he stayed healthy, he got injured his junior or senior year, excuse me. And had he played his senior year as he did his sophomore year, I mean, is he an Ohio State Buckeye? Is he down in Alabama or whatnot? He was electric in high school. So he really looked at today, got a nice little wiggle. You're moving your third running back. That's what they're doing with Tyree to get him on the field as a slot and whatnot. So Payne could definitely be that third guy going in there. And now that opens up room for when Jeremiah Love comes, give him a bunch of reps. So yeah, the running back room is going to be solid with Estime. Diggs will be back healthy. Held him out here a lot of this spring, which was probably smart with his little injury. And then Tyree, I think I wouldn't be surprised if Tyree is the slot, if he's the starting slot, just so they get Thomas on the perimeter a bunch and do a lot of the games, the reverses, things of that nature with Chris Tyree. So yeah, I would expect Tyree to be there full time.
Yeah, I was gonna say there was a Buckner threw like a slant to Tyree. It was a
Mhm.
pickup of like 15 yards. I was like,
On a 3rd and 9. Yeah, really
okay,
nice. Yes.
he looked natural out
And
there. I
that
was
was an
pretty pleased with him
RPO.
too.
Exactly. Like Buckner wasn't, Buckner didn't do any of the play actions, the RPOs, the inside zone fakes. That was the first time he did it. Boom. And he hit that nice slant to Chris Tyree. Then he came back, hit another nice pass, had another 3rd down, little quick curl. Then I think he hit Coles. I think that was Colsey for a 1st down, which I think that was Colsey's big catch.
Did you notice much schematically different from the offense? With the new coordinator from Reese to Jared Parker.
No, I mean, just quick eye watching it live. They still ran the duo, the inside run. That Payne hit was definitely a nice double team combo block inside. A lot of the same stuff. They took obviously with Hartman. They did a couple nice shots, but other than that, you saw the bootleg Buckner, faking it, trying to hit the quick little dumps. They hit Tobias when he got smacked on one. They did that 100 times last year to Mayer and Thomas coming back. A lot of the same type of things I noticed. A lot of the same quick game that they did. The quick dumps, the quick hitches, curls, whatever you want to call them. Depending how deep it was. It's all a lot of the same stuff you kind of saw last year. And I know I mentioned to you with Hartman, a lot of it reminded me of Jack Cohn. It just did. Jack Cohn had a rhythm, got the ball out quick, was efficient, and I thought some of the Hartman offense looked like the 2021 stuff that they did with Jack Cohn.
I'm going to put you on the spot, Tim. Let's say Notre Dame's first play against Navy. 11 personnel they come out in. Who are the 11? Who's Notre Dame trotting out?
Is Notre Dame going to have a tight end? They didn't have any today. That was an interesting thing. Oh, you got to go. I mean, the offensive line, barring any injuries, you're going to go Alt, Billy Schrauff, Zeke Correll, and Christophic. But geez, physicality wise, and
Like Rocco?
it's just a presence and a nastiness. He's complete opposite of Andrew Christophic. When you watch the physicality and just a mean dude, Rocco's a lot meaner. And then obviously Blake Fisher. Evans is your tight end. I would go Tyree at slot. I would go Thomas because I trust Thomas a heck of a lot more than Colsey. And then you got to go Tobias on the white side. And then obviously your running back is flip a coin between Diggs and Estime.
And then Mitchell Evans as tight end.
Yeah. Mitchell Evans, your tight end. The tight end. You know what? We've mentioned this a handful of times. Is people just you sprinkle water, a next one at Notre Dame pops up. It's a big question mark. And Evans has been banged up a lot this spring. He's been banged up in the past. Stays was out there obviously playing, as much as he can. Today he was the only really true tight end. What are you going to get with Bauman? Raritan's had 2 straight ACLs.
Yeah.
Like that is a question mark. People, don't worry about it. He'll be back. The dude's had 2 ACL injuries. So, and then you got obviously Flanagan coming from Great De La Salle, who's going to be a physical presence. He may have to get into that rotation quick, and he may end up being the third guy, even pushing to get on the field if he has a good training camp. Tight end to me is going to be a setback after what Notre Dame has had really from the 18 to 22 run. A lot of drafted tight ends here in these last couple of years.
Holden Stays, 2 receptions, 17 yards for the blue team. And then the gold team tight end, Davis Sherwood, 2 for 25.
Great.
I actually agree with you, Tim, on the tight ends. Like there's some good players, but there's not the no-brainer out there. But that's time for someone to emerge to continue tight end. Did you say a quarterback, Tim, for that 11? Did you?
Hartman's gonna. We'll sit here and we'll argue, and Goolsby will come on. We'll talk 1,000 things. I don't see how he doesn't start. He's going to start. That was the whole thing going back to the Gator Bowl when I said he's going to start. Freeman's not going to bring in a 6-year quarterback. He's not going to go walk into that quarterback room after USC saying, I need more experience. I need another quarterback. I'm going to bring one in. Pine was like, well, then I'm out of here. And he's going to start. He's going to start unless Buckner just comes off and looks like Tim Tebow in training camp.
Yeah. I like Ray's comment here. It says, I think Raritan's misspelling, but Raritan's the best tight end. He's get healthy. I think that's if Raritan's healthy, I think he definitely has the highest ceiling of all the tight ends. Again, it's a talented tight end room, but just got to see. And it's definitely the same at receiver. It's talented, but you mentioned you would put Tyree at slot. I'm not so sure I'm ready for that yet. Not as like the number 1 guy right away. I would still like Greathouse / Thomas in the slot. Maybe if you go 10 personnel, 4 wide receivers, you have Thomas and Greathouse, as your 2 slots. But if we're going 11 personnel, 3 receivers, I like Thomas in the slot, Merriweather, Field, and I don't know on boundary.
And that's the question. See, I say Thomas because Thomas is a guy you could trust. You obviously can.
But he's so good in the slot.
Exactly, he is. He's like a hybrid tight end.
Yeah,
the type of body he has. He's a good inside guy. Hartman hit him on a slant. You could hit him on those slot 10-yard stops, those little curl routes in there. They hit him, which Greathouse just was awesome at catching those little dumps today. Really good. Once again, Greathouse has a physicality to him. Colsey's the wild card. And, and you go back and you listen to Stuckey's comments. Stuckey is like, he even said, we know we have 3, meaning Tyree, Tobias, and Thomas. And Tyree has really come on, according to Coach Stuckey, over spring football. I said training camp, spring football here. But his comments about Colsey are like, he's the same guy. And you can't be the same guy in your 3rd year. You're going into your 3rd year. And he's basically saying he's the same guy. Meaning, you could trot out there and catch a first down against USC and trot out there and catch an out route here and there, but you're in your third year. You need to be a dude. And when are you going to be that guy? He's top 100 wide receiver, correct? So Notre Dame just lost a top 100 wide receiver 24 hours ago. And what's up with Colsey? So if you're going to go with guys you trust, you got to go Tyree at slot. He's a senior. Thomas outside. And then Greathouse is that wild card, basically.
Another one.
I think he's the fourth best receiver, and Colsey's behind him, I would say, as far as just athletically. How about the interception real quick? Buckner's trying to hit him and just on a 3rd and 6, and they ran the little drag delay, and Osbury's just beating up Deion Colsey over the middle. A horrible effort by him. I don't know, man. Maybe it's just me. Every time I see Colsey, I just see a guy who's just chilling out there sometimes. And maybe with that body and that physicality that he has, it's like, I guess when I see him, I'm like, all right, when are you going to be Chase Claypool? When are you just going to go up there and just go grab footballs?
Folks, please do hit that thumbs up on this video, of course. Watch some of our other videos here at Blue and Gold, and subscribe to our YouTube channel for more content. Appreciate folks watching. Definitely got some more stuff to talk about in today's show. You did touch on Lorenzo Styles entering the transfer portal. Was that just Friday or Thursday?
Right?
Was it?
Yeah. Yesterday, correct? Was it? Yeah.
Reaction to that, Tim?
Man, it was I was bummed because I think he's a fantastic athlete. I actually went back and watched his high school film because everyone was talking about him and his DB work, and man, he physical, aggressive, shows all that athleticism. So many schools recruited him as DB. You go back and read some old articles about him. It's too bad. He's a heck of a football player, and the whole goal of a football program is to keep stacking blue chips, right? You just keep stacking football players on top of each other, but that's also a sign of this 22 and 23 classes, Mike. Some of these young dudes could play. Some of these DBs that he probably was like, am I really going to sit here and battle to be the 5th receiver, the 5th corner, or I'm just going to transfer and go somewhere else? My quick take is the more he thought about it, he probably just said, all right, because I think what Pete Thamel said, he wants to play defense. Wherever he's going to go, he wants to play defense. And I think Lorenzo probably just put his head on a pillow, relaxed, and was like, all right, I'm going to go somewhere. I'm going to redshirt. I don't want to do it at Notre Dame. I just want a fresh start, fresh position. I'm going to get out of here. And I think that was his take at the end of the day.
Wanted to focus a little bit on the linebackers, Tim, and who stood out to you today. Jalen Sneed being one of them.
I texted Mike Goolsby because Mike was on and off watching some of it. He's going to watch it full time tonight. Which,
by the way, tomorrow night, 8 p.m.
Oh yeah, tomorrow night we'll be on. With Mike Goolsby. We'll have a nice little chat about this whole thing and really start prepping towards training camp. So that's going to be exciting. He looked like once again going back to this 22, 23 classes. He looked like a different dude. He looked like a guy that's not like, what the heck is this? This is football. He looked like his confidence to me. When you just saw his number, there's one play he just fits inside, and just the way his footwork is, and he fit into a B gap and made a great tackle. He got outside on the Tyree, I think, on a jet sweep, kept leverage, outside arm and leg free, and boom, went and fit up on Tyree on one of the jet sweeps. How do you not get that guy on the field? Seriously, he has got to be. Obviously Bertrand, Kaiser, both of those guys they kept out. Maris Leafau was playing way out there on the slots. He's never going to do that in the season. He's going to be in the box. They did that to give those young guys a bunch of reps, Bowen, Ziegler, and obviously Jalen Sneed. But him and Bowen, the two highly ranked linebackers the last 2 years looked the part, and Osbury was my biggest surprise because I really didn't know what to think of him when he signed, and I was very impressed with him.
Yeah. I think we've covered a good bit. Any defensive line standouts? I think we touched on this earlier, but any guys you want to talk about?
Well, you know what? D-line, it's kind of set. Botello Jr. are going to be the Vipers. You're going to have the 4 inside rotation. What's that?
Set. You think those are the guys? Yeah. What about Javonte Jean-Baptiste?
Well, I'm saying Viper. At the Viper is going to be Botello and Junior are your Vipers.
Oh, okay.
Baptiste and Nana are going to be the wide side ends, the field ends, whatever you want to call them. I thought Gobira played a heck of a lot harder than Nana, but Nana's a 5th-year guy, so maybe they only gave him a couple snaps and got him out of there. I wasn't too impressed by him. when he was out there. Wagner was blocking him up really, really good in that first quarter. So that's what started to get me to watch Wagner, how he was just beating up on 31 out there. So, and then D-line Cross is just a stud. He had one play. He's trying to get done. How strong is that guy? He's just standing there, just arms out, locking dudes out, just hanging out like it's a spring game. And me get my 3 reps and get the heck out of here. But, obviously Rubio is going to rotate a ton. Anya is the most impressive one from where he's come over his 3 years of being developed. He looked like a true Notre Dame interior football player today. And I bet he's going to probably get about 40 snaps a game.
Yeah, Chris S says feeling really good about the running back room right now. I am too. Estime, solid day. I mean, you know what you have an Estime and Logan Diggs. Jabarian Payne's looked really good. Jadarian Price, everyone's high on. When he gets healthy, watch out for him. And then, you just got this guy named Jeremiah Love coming in this summer, who is, the most heralded, as a recruit. Coming out of high school of all of those guys. So, Tim, this is, when you look at some of the talent at receiver, running back, there's a lot of excitement about this offense, Tim.
Yeah, for me, I'm always just a little cautious. It's going to be a vertical game. Who's going to beat, and that's what kills me about this schedule. I'm one of those guys that's like, let's go play someone right away. Obviously, the first Navy, people are like, oh, it's Navy. If Notre Dame doesn't go out there in game 1 and take care of business, then they're going to have issues all season. Let's just be honest. That's my opinion. Game 2 is Tennessee State. They're going to go out there and handle them. And then NC State's the biggie on the road, and Hartman's thrown 6 picks against them the last 2 years. So against NC State. So they have a little Hartman magic power, and that's going to be an interesting one. Then you got Central Michigan, and then it's about the Buckeyes. So is Notre Dame, this is what's a little, because I haven't studied NC State, so I don't know what they have. I know Armstrong's there, the really good quarterback from Virginia. But Notre Dame should be 4-0. Let's just be honest. If they're not 4-0, they're going to be top 10. Buckeyes are going to be top 10. They're 3-0. That's going to be the true test. So we're going to have a month, Mike, of just talking about, I feel like, the same things 1,000 times, because we won't know until they play Ohio State. That's just my honest take. So what is that what is that first month going to prepare us for the Buckeyes? Because their speed is legit. They are legit.
Pavin's comment here. Hayden Goolsby support for Buckner is all for clicks. It doesn't make sense.
Hold on. Hold on. A quick 30-second clips. Yeah, you could click whatever you want. But my take is, quick. Yeah, I always say quick 30 seconds, and I go for 15 minutes. But with all honesty, I was looking at this as a program thing, as developing, because there's so many. Everyone we've talked about today is coming back in 2024. They're all coming back, so they're all going to play with a 6-year quarterback. And I don't know what that does for 2024 when you're on the road in College Station, and you're going to basically have a new quarterback. Is that fine?
It's fine.
You say it's fine. But you had all of 2023 to get these guys ready.
And you need to win in 2023.
Win what, though? This football, I'm going to be honest with you. Anyone that thinks this Notre Dame football team is national championship material, I don't see where it's at, because I don't know where they have it on the wide receivers.
So just lay down. Lay down. Hey, tell the seniors, sorry, it's not your year.
Oh, you don't. Obviously, you go into every game competing. That's what Notre Dame does. But in all honesty, do they have the perimeter guys, Mike? Chris Tyree got tackled for a TFL, for crying out loud. Everyone's saying he's the fastest guy in the world. He looked like Chris Tyree I've seen for 3 years. So is he really going to just blow by, the high-end teams that Notre Dame plays this year? Is this a playoff team that's going to go beat? Did it look like, anyone in the chat room, did it look like Notre Dame has SEC speed on offense? Be honest, it doesn't. So my whole thing was, you have Buckner, you have Angeli, you have Minchie. Play these guys, get ready for 2024, because so many dudes are coming back. But that's
but you're saying,
and if they go and have an undefeated season, great. The odds of that, I don't think are high.
But you're
That's my opinion.
saying, oh, all these guys are coming back in 2024, but you're also saying, well, these guys aren't fast enough on the edges. So
No, so go and play and get as much experience as you can with the roster that you have.
and hope that they get faster next year, like because
Well, that is the goal, isn't it? Is that why Matt Balis kind of does strength and conditioning? Is that what he's supposed to be doing? Keep developing these guys? Isn't that what we always hear on the message board? Oh, this coach doesn't develop guys. Notre
I
Dame
don't
doesn't develop
think
guys.
someone's gonna just
Come on.
get fast based on an off season or something. Like
But no one improves. Hold
you're
on. No
you're
one
gonna run a
improves.
4.8 to a 4.7. Like, oh yeah, that's the difference. Like, I
It's
don't
one step
know.
faster, right? So, but no one improves, right? No one keeps improving. And that's the
The
thing.
speed aspect, I don't know, from one off season, if it's just gonna be like, oh, and
And
this off
Notre Dame,
season,
okay,
these are now
okay, great.
SEC speed. Like, I don't
So
know.
Notre Dame doesn't have it in 2023. We go to 2024. They're all coming back. According to Mike Singer, they're all slow. No one's going to get faster. No one's going to get developed. These guys are all going to stay the same type of guys. So what are you going to do in 2024? And I've also said, and this is my true comment is 2024 is the extended playoffs. Notre Dame's trying to get a big TV deal. If Notre Dame is not in that extended playoff, what does that look like? What's more important, making the playoffs in 2024 or having a big run with a 6-year quarterback this year? I think it's 2024. If Notre Dame does not make that playoff next year, and that committee is not going to give Notre Dame any saving grace, Notre Dame is going to have to go 11-1, 12-0 to get in. They are. And that's just my humble opinion. And I thought Notre Dame should have a lot of dudes playing a lot of football this year as they get ready down the road. And it's only the second year in Freeman's tenure. If this was year 6, I would understand it. It's only year 2.
You got to win this year. I don't know. I just don't like it.
Win this year. Okay, we'll see. We'll see. I hope Notre Dame makes the playoffs. And if they do, I'll do backflips for everybody. Okay.
Can I get that in writing? Tim Hyde backflip YouTube stream.
SEC Notre Dame hater Kool-Aid. What is that? This guy thinks Notre Dame has SEC speed. Okay.
No, they don't. But you do have speed. Tobias Merriweather. There's Tobias Merriweather's fast. Chris Tyree's fast. Yeah. But yeah, I mean, it's if you want to compare that to an Alabama receiver room.
But that's exactly. So that's who you need to prepare, and that's who you need to go out there and compete and go from there. That was one of my big takeaways. I was watching that team today, and I was like, they didn't look overly blazing fast. That's some nice looking athletes. Some of the young guys impressed me a ton. And once again, those are those young guys, these classes Freeman's doing. Expecting another one in 2024. They got a high-end nose guard in 2025 just committed. So he's going to keep compounding classes on top of each other. Guy says Braylon James barely even got on the field today. He's like the third string wide receiver. So that's a guy that's going to be down the road. I'm reading some of these comments here.
Never read the comments, Tim.
Yeah, exactly. He says James is very fast. He didn't look like it today.
Yeah, I mean he's definitely a speedster. But yeah, going back to the comment about you guys are Hartman guys for clicks. Yeah, that's not how YouTube works. But thanks for the comment, man.
Definitely not me. I know I haven't planned those comments out with Mike Singer to be like, hey Mike, I'm gonna say this here.
It's not how it works.
Exactly.
Now, do I say some things to rile up Hyde and Goolsby for some good content? Oh yeah, for sure. But no, these guys are giving their takes. Yeah, Christian Gray is fast, Derek, but we're just kind of talking about offense here.
No, there's plenty of fast guys. Notre Dame, you need an entire team of them. I mean, the playoff. Do people don't understand where Notre Dame is going to go in the extended playoffs? They're never going to get a bye. So you're going to have to play an extra game every single year to have a shot at a national championship. So, let's start being real about this.
Any other thoughts? Anything you want to touch on that we haven't yet, Tim?
No, we didn't really talk too much about the DBs. Nothing to talk about them until we play Ohio State. But we see that game. No, I was, like I said, my bottom line, I was very impressed with a lot of young guys. I thought, really, really talented kids some of the redshirt freshmen we didn't see last year really stood out. So going here over my list. No, it was just nice. I love watching Notre Dame football. It's nice to see those guys running around on the field. And there's some dudes that, like mentioned, Gobira, Sneed, Drake Bowen. There's some good football players out there that just keep getting better, keep developing. And sky's the limit down the road. I truly believe that.
Down the road, but yeah, not in 2023. Just when those guys come back in 2024.
Hey, 2023. We'll see. Everyone's saying playoffs. I hope they do it. I hope they do it.
All right, folks, make sure you guys hit the thumbs up. That is going to just about wrap it up for this video. If you're just joining us recently, hit drag and swipe to the beginning of the video, and watch back from the top, see what you missed, and then Sunday we will confirm it. Make sure you just log into our Blue and Gold YouTube channel, but 8 p.m. Eastern time is when myself, Tim Hyde, and Mike Goolsby are planning on going live. So make sure you bring your comments and questions for those two guys. Of course, drop a super chat. We'll I'm not going to say guarantee we answer your question because you're just going to troll. Then we're not going to post it. But we always appreciate the super chats and stuff. So make sure, again, you tune in Sunday, 8 p.m. Eastern time. That's going to do it for this show. Appreciate you guys tuning in. And head to blueandgold.com for all the written coverage of this game. And as we mentioned earlier, already 2 commitments for the Irish this weekend, and more could be on the way. So make sure you stay tuned again to blueandgold.com. Appreciate everyone for watching. And as always, we will catch you next time.